Randy Smith must have been feeling pretty darn good on February the 11th. That's the day he cashed in one of his biggest MLP checks ever. $968,799. Now, come on, that's a lot of money. Yet, it was tiny. That's right, Randy's payout, thanks to owning 2 million units of his oil company, was tiny compared to the $1 billion he and his colleagues paid to thousands of patriotic Americans. The rest of the money went to thousands of ordinary people who invested in units alongside him at $25 a piece, a group of silent partners. And that's the way Randy wanted it. To cement that smile on Randy's face, he also knew those silent partners would be getting 3 additional payouts within the year, only they'd be bigger. In fact, Randy's company has been making these payouts 4 times a year for the last, get this, 24 years. They showed up like clockwork during the tech crash of 2000, the financial collapse of 2008, and even the coronavirus pandemic of 2020. Randy's company didn't miss a single payment, not once. That's why Tyler, one of those silent partners, called Randy and other leaders of the company good stewards. Edward, a CPA and self-proclaimed bean counter, is another silent partner. He wrote, "While many say that low-risk, high-reward opportunities don't exist, I think that's exactly what this is, which is why this company is my largest investment. I plan to hold these units for a long time." You'll notice Edward called them units, not shares. That highlights my favorite part about Randy's company. It's not a stock, it exists outside the stock market, which likely explains why nobody's ever told you about it. In fact, it's one of just 30 companies that was approved by the United States government to mail out 100% of its profits in the form of these massive MLP checks. Let me say that again. Randy's is one of just 30 energy companies that are approved by the U.S. government to mail out 100% of their profits in the form of these massive MLP checks. Most companies will toss out a few bucks to shareholders in the form of dividends, but Randy's company doesn't have shares of stock. It has units. And it is specifically approved by the U.S. government to pay out 100% of its profits to its silent partners, which is why the payouts from these energy companies are up to 8 times bigger than dividends, bonds, even real estate. It's a great investment for anyone who wants to increase their passive income 8-fold, a full 800%. All you have to do is invest once, and you get paid the profits in the form of these quarterly MLP checks forever. Once you see how massive these payouts are, I doubt you'll ever sell. Randy's company, for example, is based in Houston. It has 50,000 miles of oil and gas pipelines, enough to stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific 20 times, ensuring energy gets, well, where it needs to go. I'll show you how you can become a silent partner in Randy's company today, starting with a $25 investment. And I'll explain exactly what these MLP checks are so you can set yourself up to start collecting them right away, no matter your age, income, or investment experience. You can invest right alongside Randy, who collected a total of $3.7 million last year. Randy's colleagues, Richard and Michael, were right there with him, collecting $3.4 million and $2.9 million in steady income. But again, their payouts are tiny, at least compared to the $4.2 billion they mailed out to their silent partners all across America. I'm sure that some of those checks were for less than $100. Others, a few thousand. Others yet, hundreds of thousands of dollars. You see, the more you invest, the bigger your MLP checks will be. Again, if you want to be one of these silent partners and receive MLP checks, stick around. You'll see how to partner with Randy's company for about $25 a unit. It's not complicated. We're talking about 10 minutes here, tops. By the end of this presentation, you'll see how to get 12 of these quarterly MLP checks a year forever, just like clockwork. For example, you can become a silent partner in a Toledo company that is set to pay out $3.1 billion in MLP checks next year. $675 million will be paid out from a company in Houston. Another $869 million paid out from a company in Tulsa. $397 million set to be paid from another company in Houston. Remarkable, right? There are 30 of these government-approved companies, and they're paying out massive amounts in MLP checks. The CEOs and senior partners of these companies are some of the biggest investors, and that's what you want. To be invested right alongside the insiders, reaping the same yield as they do. The best part is, they aren't stocks. They exist outside the stock market, but investing in them is as easy as buying shares of stock. All you do is invest once and you'll get paid MLP checks forever. You not only receive reliable, work-free money, you help make America a stronger and better place with each check you collect. Take the MLP checks paid out by this company headquartered in Dallas. This company transfers over 30% of America's natural gas and crude oil across its 120,000 miles of energy infrastructure. Do you think this company helps America become energy independent? You bet it does. Every dollar you invest helps this company to continue to upgrade and expand its infrastructure. As the company grows, America gets access to more oil and gas. And every step of the way, you get MLP checks. You win, the company wins. And perhaps most important of all, America wins. You can become a silent partner in this Dallas company for just $13 per unit, which might explain why 3 of its top insiders own 314,000 units, 202,000 units, and 135,000 units. And they're already being handsomely rewarded for it. Last year was brutal for the stock market, as you know, and yet, while most investors watch their portfolios shrink, one of these insiders collected $166,000. Another, $248,000. And the third one got $386,000 in MLP checks last year. It's incredible. As amazing as that is, though, their annual payouts are tiny compared to the total amount mailed to their silent partners. Roughly $800 million gets sent every quarter to thousands of ordinary investors who know how to buy these units. I want you to be one of those folks who gets a share of $800 million. I really do. Because if you're still with me, it means you understand the power of collecting your share of 100% of the profits through these MLP checks, year after year after year. It also means you're interested in becoming a silent partner in companies that produce and transport the very things that have made America the strongest and richest nation on the planet, oil and natural gas. And right now, it's a perfect time to get started. You see, next year, a record-breaking $17.9 billion is expected to be paid out from these 30 government-approved companies. You'll see a list of these MLP payouts in just a moment. However, please don't invest in all of them. Remember, these MLPs pay their silent partners 100% of their profits. If there aren't any profits, there aren't any payouts. And there's always a chance that a company could go bankrupt or the unit value could drop. So, like any investment, there are risks. You only want to invest in the companies that are making the biggest profits, of course, and that have sustainable business models to keep making those big payouts year after year after year. Now, I'll show you how to find the most profitable ones and which ones to avoid in just a moment, but you'll want to act soon. Word of these opportunities has been spreading, as you can imagine. Kiplinger reports that MLP checks, quote, offer up some of the market's largest payouts. Motley Fool brags this way: the dividend yields are sky high and that they enable you to supercharge your returns. And Entrepreneur Magazine calls them a stable way to invest in energy that delivers fat yields to unit holders. Look, it's not often you find an investment that pays you so much income so consistently with less risk while helping to make America energy independent. And today, you're going to get all the details. You're about to see how to become a silent partner in these government-approved energy companies. Once you see how attractive these investments are, you may never buy another stock, bond, or annuity again. You'll also see why the payouts are so large. As I mentioned, most pay out 100% of their profit to their partners, which is why, on average, these MLP checks are currently up to 8 times larger than some of the most popular dividend stocks. You'll also see how to line your pockets with 12 payouts a year, year in and year out, and using the money to do, well, as you please. But first, you should know a little more about this MLP program, how it started over 40 years ago under President Ronald Reagan, and why it's so important to America today. That's right, even though 99% of Americans have never heard of these MLP checks, this program actually started 40 years ago under President Reagan. You see, the oil shocks of the 1970s had left America at the mercy of OPEC. Gas stations had run out of gas, oil prices were shooting through the roof, and inflation, well, it was choking the nation. Reagan, who was eyeing the presidency, said this:
"The energy problem is a crisis now, but it can be an historic opportunity to free America forever from dependence on unstable foreign oil that can be turned on and off at will by those who would use world commerce for economic blackmail and coercion."
You see, Reagan knew what many in the energy field had known for a very long time, that buried under U.S. soil was an estimated 50 billion barrels of untapped oil reserves and enough natural gas to last over 100 years. Yet we were paying hostile countries like Iran, Libya, Venezuela, billions of dollars for their oil. It wasn't just stupid, it was reckless, putting us all in danger. Reagan knew if he could encourage both investors and private companies to tap into these oil reserves, well, those billions of dollars, they would go to American businesses, American workers, and American energy production. He saw an opportunity to make America energy independent. So soon after taking the Oval Office, Reagan started working on Statute 26-7704. This statute says that a company does not have to pay any federal taxes, if it generates 90% of its revenue from the production, processing, storage, and transportation of natural resources in the United States, and they pass on all their income in what I've been calling MLP checks to every American who partners with them. That's right. The best companies pay out 100% of their net cash flow to the people who partner with them, people like you. They have to. It's the law. And that's why these MLP checks can be so huge. You see, most ordinary companies have to pay taxes on their profits first, and then, if the company wants to share the money that's left, it can be given to investors as dividends. But because these unique energy companies are so vital to America's independence, Washington agreed a long time ago that 100% of the profits can go directly to partners like you. Again, there are only 30 oil-related companies that meet these strict federal requirements. These unique, government-approved companies are called Master Limited Partnerships, or MLPs for short. And you can become a silent partner in them and start collecting money. It's easy. You'll get all the details in a moment, but first, you may be wondering who I am, why I know so much about these MLP checks. I'm Steve Gruber, and like most folks, I had never heard of them before. I don't have a financial degree from Harvard or anywhere else. I've never stepped foot on Wall Street. I'm a talk radio host. You may have even tuned into my syndicated morning show or watched me live on Real America's Voice. If so, you'll know I'm a Midwest boy who lives and works in Michigan, 600 miles away from Wall Street. So I had no idea these MLP checks existed, or that you could start to collect them by investing as little as $25. Then, well, about 2 years ago, I guess, this man was a guest on one of my shows. His name is Charles Mizrahi, and he sees around corners better than anyone I've ever met. Charles has predicted every economic crisis of the last 4 decades. The crash of 1987, the dot-com mania, the housing bubble which led to the 2008 financial crisis, even the crashes of 2020 and 2022. But more than that, he showed people how to profit in the bull markets that followed. Those who followed his insights after the 2008 crash, for example, were able to follow his inevitable wealth portfolio. Among the stocks were Autodesk, Texas Instruments, and Microsoft, which rose 1,064%, 939%, and 1,153% in the following 13 years. He also guided people to profits as the market rebounded after the 2020 COVID crash, as well as with new opportunities in oil and natural gas that are taking shape right now. Which is why advisors at big Wall Street banks such as Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, and Wells Fargo turn to Charles for insight. So do political heavyweights such as Mike Huckabee and Sarah Palin. Listen to what they had to say about him.
And you've been following Charles's model portfolio and research, right?
Yep. I started with a small sum of money. I bought the stocks that he recommended in his model portfolio. And within 2 weeks, thanks to Charles, my gains were higher than what most experts are going to make in 2 years.
Wow. I first met him last year when he was a guest on my show. He managed money for 3 of Wall Street's biggest banks and was once named the #1 investment banker by Barron's. But he left Wall Street to help America's Main Street people work with their wealth instead. I recently interviewed him for a second time, and I had him reveal his top investing secret. His secret has already given nearly 100,000 Americans, including me, the chance to do something that even 9 out of 10 professional investors can't do. That's beat the market. That's right, I personally use his secret as well.
As Mike Huckabee mentioned, Charles devotes most of his time these days to helping the over 60,000 Main Street Americans who are part of his investment community. He uses his experience, know-how, and connections to guide them and helps make their financial goals and dreams come true with sound, sensible investment recommendations. To be frank, Charles Mizrahi made an impression on me, and that's not easy. So much so I invited him back several more times. In a minute, I'll even let you listen to one of those interviews that I've never shared before, where Charles reveals details around his 3 favorite MLPs and how top MLPs in the past rose 1,258%, 1,019%, and even 1,464% in about 6 years. And yes, you heard me right. 1,464%. I want you to hear it because I know for me, the more I listened to Charles, the more I came to trust him, really trust him. And like Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, and all those big Wall Street bankers, I began to listen to his insights. It was Charles who told me about these MLP checks, the incredible streams of income they can give me, and why now is the perfect time to get in on them. You see, in 2013, Ronald Reagan's dream finally came true. Investment in American energy and MLPs gave birth to new fracking technology and ignited the shale revolution. Drillers were able to tap into massive new reservoirs of shale oil that had never been reachable before. And when I say massive, I mean off the charts. After decades spent trapped under OPEC's thumb, America not only became energy independent, we surpassed Russia and Saudi Arabia to become a net exporter and the top producer of oil and natural gas in the world. It was a milestone moment for America. The amount of traditional energy we produced took off like a rocket, and profits in the energy sector began to soar with it. Then recently, when the last of the COVID lockdowns were lifted, the global economy roared back with a vengeance, and Russia invaded Ukraine. It was an explosive combination. The world's thirst for energy surged while sanctions against Russia simultaneously cut off oil supply. The result is a huge new bull market in energy and the ocean of profits that come with it. Exxon made its biggest profits ever in 2022, over $55 billion. So did Shell, which reported $41 billion on its bottom line, and Chevron, which made $35 billion. Now that's a lot of money, and it's caught the eye of income investors everywhere. They see it as a chance to cash in on some really nice dividends thanks to the new global energy boom. And they're right. They're right. They could invest in a company like Exxon and collect some pretty good dividends. But what they don't know is this. They could be collecting a lot more money through these MLP checks. The company in Houston I told you about, Randy's company, the MLP checks it pays out are 100% larger than the dividend checks you'd get from Exxon, Shell, or Chevron. And that company in Dallas I mentioned, it pays out 150% more. This one in Omaha pays out almost 300% more, and the best part is this. These tremendous quarterly payouts, along with the energy boom that's fueling them, are expected to last for a very long time. Oil industry insiders see it. Wall Street insiders see it.
Just take oil. Right now, today, it's in a 2 million barrel per day deficit. That's 2% of the market that is missing. Inventories are now 5% below the 5-year average. So the fundamental setup is spectacular right now.
Even Biden and those inside his administration see it. Why else do you think they quietly approved 6,430 new permits for oil and gas drilling on public lands? Enough to outpace President Trump. Why else would Biden have approved the huge new Willow drilling project in Alaska? And why else has he quietly rubber stamped plans for a new oil terminal, America's largest, on the Gulf of Mexico? It's because deep down, Biden and his administration know the demand for traditional energy isn't going away. It's going to grow. It has to. And who do you think is going to benefit from all of this new drilling inside our borders? Well, it'll be these 30 government-approved MLPs. With hundreds of thousands of miles of pipelines, they're the ones who will move all this oil and natural gas from coast to coast, earning fees every step of the way. And every penny of the profit will be distributed to the silent partners. It's the law. These 30 companies are already scheduled to send out $17.9 billion worth of MLP checks over the next 12 months. And if you invest today as little as $13, you can start collecting some of these payouts. $1.07 billion will be paid out 4 times this year from the company Randy partnered with in Houston. $783 million will be paid out 4 times this year from a company in Ohio. And $217 million will be paid out 4 times this year from one in Tulsa. It is no wonder that legendary activist investor Carl Icahn was quick to grab a huge stake in these MLPs. Or why big Wall Street outfits like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Blackstone have been getting in on the action too. Again, it's easy to see why. Just take a look at this list and all the money that can be had. This company in Dallas is scheduled to pay out a total of $3.8 billion through 4 different quarterly payments. This one from Tulsa set to pay out $869 million. And another one just south of Nashville set to pay out $177 million. Thousands of people are already in place to stake their claim. Michael, who is a senior partner at one of these smaller companies and owns about 169,000 units, is scheduled to cash his MLP check for $55,000. Joel, a chief safety officer at a mid-level company in Houston, he'll collect $226,000. And Frank, a retired chairman from the one in Ohio, will grab a massive MLP check worth $410,509. Yet, in each instance, their payouts, again, are just a tiny fraction of the billions of dollars in MLP checks that their companies send out to people across the nation. Patriotic, hardworking Americans who have become silent partners in these traditional energy companies. Over $82 million will be going out to people who invest alongside Michael for $15 a unit. More than $280 million will be sent out to those who invest in the MLP Joel works at, units that go for about $25 each. And a staggering $3.1 billion will be paid out to Americans who invest in the MLP Frank retired from. You can get units of this Ohio MLP for around $35 a piece. Anyone, regardless of age, net worth, or investment experience, can start receiving these checks right alongside Michael, Joel, and Frank with as little as $15. And you can use the money however you want. And yet, because these investments aren't stocks, most Americans have no idea MLP checks even exist. Think about that. By investing as little as $13, you could become a silent partner in one of these companies and you'll start to receive MLP checks. The more you invest, the bigger your MLP checks will be. Take this company in Allentown, Pennsylvania. When you invest in units and become a silent partner, the income payouts it sends will be 2 times bigger than real estate dividends, 2 times bigger than treasuries, and 6 times bigger than typical stock dividends. Or this one located in Dallas, which pays out 3 times more than real estate and treasuries, and 7 times more than your average stock dividend. Oh, and this one in Tulsa, which has some of the biggest payouts. Its MLP checks are 3 times bigger than real estate, 3 times bigger than treasuries, and 8 times, you heard me right, 8 times bigger than stock dividends. I mean, it's a dream come true for anyone looking for a steady stream of income. You get a share of the profits 4 times a year, year after year, for as long as you remain a silent partner. Just imagine what life would be like. The things you could do with check after check flowing into your mailbox every quarter. It's why U.S. News called these energy MLPs, quote, a bright spot for investors. Why Charles Schwab said they can help provide investors with higher income payments than many other alternatives. And why Barron's reported big pension funds are pouring money into them and that other investors should take a look to see if they are missing out. Of course, MLPs Although they are government approved, they're not all created equal. Remember, they pay their silent partners 100% of their net profit. So, if you want to set yourself up to collect nice, big MLP checks one after another for years and years to come, you need to avoid poorly run companies and invest in the top-notch MLP companies that keep on making a massive profit. Now, today, you'll get details on the top 3 MLP companies, along with their incredibly lucrative payouts. In fact, mark these dates on your calendar. This way you'll know when their next wave of MLP checks is expected to go out. You'll hear more about them in just a moment. To show you exactly how incredible the income can be, I'm going to let you listen in on a behind-the-scenes interview I had with Charles Mizrahi, one I've never shared before. In it, Charles reveals why these MLP checks are such a great opportunity and why you've likely never heard of them. Then, you'll get his top 3 investment recommendations so you can get in on these payouts right away. You've been hailed as a top performer in your arena by the Wall Street Journal, and I can see why. Not only did you call the major market crashes of the past 4 decades, you've also guided people toward extremely lucrative investments. A few of your top recommendations include Arista Networks, which is up 295%, HCA Healthcare, which is up 193%, and Iridium Communications, which is up 125%, all in about 3 years. But these MLPs are unlike anything we've ever talked about before. Can you tell me a bit more about why these MLPs are such an incredible opportunity right now?
Supply and demand, Steve, nothing more complicated than that. You see, energy supply is tight for 2 main reasons. One is OPEC and 2 is green energy. OPEC keeps cutting oil output, and until recently, the U.S. administration's green energy regulations had really clamped down on America's oil industry. But on the demand side, gosh, it continues to soar around the world. Right now, the world consumes about 99 million barrels a day. By 2030, it's projected to grow to 108 million barrels per day, and by 2050, to 150 million barrels per day. And natural gas consumption, forget about it. It's expected to hit 4.5 trillion cubic meters a day. Bottom line, Steve, the Energy Information Administration, the EIA, expects overall energy demand to soar nearly 50% over the next 30 years. 50%. And here's the thing. You don't need a degree in economics to know what happens next when supply is low and demand is high, right? But here's the thing. America is sitting on some of the biggest, richest oil and natural gas deposits in the world. At last count, we have something like 193 billion barrels of recoverable oil, the second largest amount in the world. And the EIA reported we also have enough natural gas beneath our feet to last around 100 years. And Steve, the cherry on the cake, this is it, is that these MLP companies, they play a huge role in moving all these fossil fuels around. Now you can see why you'd want to be a silent partner with these companies. Oil and natural gas, it has to be pumped through pipelines to get from the wells to the refineries where it's processed. And then when it gets to the refineries, it has to go to the storage facilities. Then from the storage facilities to the power plants, export terminals, factories, gas stations. You see what I'm talking about? That's why these companies, the ones moving the oil and gas, will be ringing the register 24/7.
It sounds like a toll road of sorts.
Heck yeah. The pipelines, or as you call them, Steve, toll roads, are already built and in place. As oil and gas flow through the pipelines, we'll continue to collect money. So, for example, when Millie in North Dakota, she fries some chicken on her gas stove, we ring the register. When Bob in Florida turns on his air conditioner and uses electricity, we ring the register. When Sue in Arizona fills up her gas tank, we ring the register. And when Tom in Ohio flips on the light switch, guess what, Steve? We ring the register. Nearly all that fuel, all that oil and gas is moved through 2.6 million miles of pipelines across America.
And these 30 MLPs own and operate a lot of them.
Yep, they sure do. It's about as close as you can get to a guaranteed stream of endless income. That's why becoming a silent partner in these companies and collecting those MLP checks makes all the sense in the world to me. You see, they play a crucial role in making America energy independent. And by investing in these MLPs and becoming silent partners with them, we too make America energy independent.
It's incredible to think that you and I can still play a role in America's energy independence and be, well, very nicely rewarded for it. with these MLP checks that come in throughout the year, year after year after year, right?
Yeah, but one more thing. Investing in these MLPs also means you could be setting yourself up to make some great investment gains as well.
But these MLPs, they're not stocks.
Spot on, Steve, they're not. You see, you receive units, not shares, but they do trade on the stock exchange, and these MLP companies can rise just like stocks. The last time we were in a situation like this, silent partners in MLP saw some tremendous gains. In 2008, one of the top MLPs was Magellan Midstream Partners, and in 5 years, it was up more than 1,100%. Cheniere Energy Partners soared 1,400% in 6 years, and Energy Transfer LP soared 1,258% in 6 years as well. We could see this happen again, and this time, boy, the gains could be even bigger.
As Charles explained more about these MLPs, I discovered that I could buy them through my regular brokerage account, just like stocks, but they're better than stocks. Depending on the size of my investment, I can get the big income and also set myself up for the big gains. The key is to know which ones to invest in and which ones to avoid, which is why Charles and his team combed through the details of all 30 of these MLPs. He spoke with physicists, government officials, and oil industry experts and insiders to get the best ones. He narrowed the list down to 3 MLPs that stood out against all others and have the best chance to appreciate and deliver big gains as well. Listen in.
And Steve, my number one recommendation is run by a Texan named Randy. Now, Randy's company operates 50,000 miles of oil and gas pipelines, making sure energy gets to where it needs to go. That's enough pipeline to stretch from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean 20 times. The natural gas and crude oil they transport are used to make all kinds of items that are, essential to everyday life, like cars, planes, ships, trains, refrigerators, medical equipment, helmets, you name it. The list goes on and on. And as a silent partner, you'll earn a portion of the profits on every drop of oil and natural gas used to make them. But Randy's MLP also has a very, very special advantage. As we speak, Steve, they're setting up 2 new plants as well as additional pipelines to process natural gas in America's largest oil patch. Yep, the Permian Basin. Bloomberg wrote, this sprawling shale patch, which lies between Texas and New Mexico, is uniquely positioned to become the world's most important engine of growth for oil production. And the pipelines and processing plants run by Randy's MLP, Steve, are vital. They're a vital part of it. That one advantage alone gives them a huge edge over the competition. And because of that, Randy's MLP can distribute over $4 billion a year as MLP checks. And the payouts are more than twice as big as the income you'd get from a 1-year treasury, and I think close to 4 times what you get from a typical stock dividend. That's what makes these MLP checks such an unbeatable source of income. World of Dividends ranked Randy's company, get this, one of the best MLPs for income. And the Motley Fool called them a golden opportunity for income-seeking investors. To top it all off, Randy's company has increased the amount they pay out in MLP checks every year uninterrupted for the past 24 years. How do you like them bag of apples? And here's the thing, Steve. Although they may trade like them, they are not stocks. They exist in, a world of their own. You don't become a shareholder, you become a unit holder, a silent partner in the MLP. And like most other MLPs, Randy's company pays out 100% of their profits to their silent partners. They have to. That's a law.
I think you can begin to see why I urgently put this presentation together for you. Here's the best part. After my meeting with Charles, he put all the time-sensitive details about Randy's MLP, including its name and ticker symbol, into a special report called MLP Checks, the $17.9 billion energy payout. This report gives you the full details on the company Charles just described to me, the one that has the biggest MLP payout in America, and I'll show you how you can get a free copy in just a moment. But it's only the first MLP check opportunity he covers. Listen again.
Now, the second one has one of the largest and most diversified networks of pipeline in the nation, and it serves all the major oil and gas producing shale basins. It's huge. I mean, it's the largest energy company in Dallas. It employs over 10,000 people and transports energy, get this, across 38 states in America. Now, I call it the Amazon of Dallas because it moves oil like Amazon moves products. And this Amazon of Dallas moves crude oil, raw natural gas, refined oil, refined natural gas from the oil fields to transport hubs, then to refineries all over America. They even supply water to fracking sites, which the oil drillers need to pump into the ground to force oil out. Steve, at the end of the day, it's next to impossible for anyone else to replicate the company's footprint. And its network is growing larger as we speak. In fact, Washington has given them approval to put another new pipeline into service. This Amazon of Dallas will soon move natural gas from the Haynesville shale basins to terminals and refineries along the Gulf Coast. But there's also something else that really sets it apart. They recently signed a huge deal to lock in 20 years of liquefied natural gas sales. That means 2 decades of guaranteed revenue. Now, with all that cash flow locked in, they can send out MLP checks that are even bigger than Randy's. And to top it off, in the past few months, management and company insiders, they bought a ton of units and have a lot of their own money in it. Now, they're lining themselves up to collect even bigger MLP checks, and so can you.
The writing on the wall here is clear. These are by far some of the best income investments you're likely to find anywhere, and Charles has put all the details for you right here inside this report. The insiders of this Amazon of Dallas MLP and all of their silent partners have set themselves up to collect a huge stream of MLP checks. One more quick look at the rest of my private interview with Charles.
Now, the third MLP on my list is actually based in Houston. Like Randy's MLP, this company also has a huge presence in America's Permian oil basin. Now, keep in mind, this is the oil basin Bloomberg said, and I quote, is uniquely positioned to become the world's most important engine of growth for oil production. But Steve, this particular MLP also has another huge edge that really separates it from the pack. You ready for this? Its pipelines not only link to most of the major U.S. shale basins, they also link to the Canadian oil sands, which is the 3rd largest proven oil reserve in the world. And that puts them in a fantastic, unmatched position to reward their partners, which is probably why Wall Street banks and money managers, no surprise there, have been buying up units by the truckload. Goldman Sachs now has a $295 million stake. Alps Advisory, $728 million stake. Morgan Stanley, $176 million. And here's the thing. Insiders, well, they've been also buying. Kevin Mitchell's the director at the company, recently purchased $2 million worth of units.
Okay, Charles. I'm certainly intrigued, but I have to ask, how much money does it take to buy units and become a silent partner with them?
Now, right now, this one has the lowest price of the group. You can invest in this one for about $13 a unit. But to be honest with you, the way they're growing, I doubt if their unit price will stay that low for long. And the MLP checks are also twice as big what you'd get from treasuries, twice as much as from real estate, and over 5 times more than the typical stock dividend.
There you have it. Charles has given you not just one, but 3 opportunities to collect investment income that nothing else can match. I think you can see why Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, and so many others are turning to Charles for his financial insight. Here's the bottom line, folks. America has a treasure trove of oil and natural gas, but energy is only as plentiful as your ability to get it to where it's needed. Pipelines are the arteries and the veins of America. Without them, no energy. As you've just seen, it's what makes these 3 MLP companies so vital to America. And you have the opportunity to be a silent partner in all of it. Invest once, and as long as you hold on to your units and the company stays profitable, you'll be sent MLP checks forever. It just doesn't get much easier than that, does it? All the information you need to get started is here inside Charles' report, MLP Checks, the $17.9 billion energy payout. Together, these 3 MLPs will send you 12 quarterly payouts a year to your mailbox or directly to your brokerage account year in and year out. Just imagine what you can do with all that extra income. One thing is certain. You'd be able to sleep easier at night knowing you'll have extra money if you needed it. Given just how much income it can help people collect, Charles' report is valued at $1,000. However, Charles, being Charles, gave me permission to let you have it free of charge when you take us up on a very special offer today. Charles and I want to invite you to become the newest member of the Alpha Investor community. This is a community of over 60,000 like-minded readers and investors. Some are novice investors, some experienced, some young, some old. You'll get the exact same insight as Sarah Palin, Mike Huckabee, and so many others. Charles has one clear goal in mind for this community: to help make investing simple for people and success inevitable. You see, after the dot-com bubble burst in 2000, Charles was greatly disturbed. He looked around and saw the shock, confusion, and financial pain the crash had on Main Street investors. He realized they got swept up in and devastated by the dot-com exuberance because there was no one there to give them a clear, grounded view or calm, level-headed guidance. Wall Street and the media, well, they certainly hadn't. So he closed his Wall Street firm and started publishing his thoughts and guidance online to help Main Street Americans instead. There's even a good chance you've seen him before. He's appeared in the Washington Times and on Newsmax. He's written 2 top-rated books on investing. He has discussed capitalism, faith, and common sense investing on The Huckabee Show, and with me and my viewers on Real America's Voice. Most of all, though, he's an advocate for Main Street Americans, helping them to invest the right way. Think of the Alpha Investor community like a club, an alliance, if you will. And its members have done very well, like John, who said this: I started using Alpha Investor in April, right after the COVID crash. In about 14 months, my $300,000 IRA is now almost doubled at $547,000. Thank you. Robert sent in this email: I just want to tell you thank you for all you do. I now feel confident investing because of your insight. Thanks for helping the little guys. And Barbara said this: I'm a teeny investor with very little money, but your insights are keeping me above water, even in these turbulent times. I wish I'd found you sooner. John, Robert, and Barbara are members of Alpha Investor, and their emails are just a few out of the many that I've chosen to highlight today. With Charles' help, they put their financial goals well on track despite the COVID crisis, the bear market, or inflation. And now you can too. You can be involved in the community as much as you like. Some people join just for the investment insights. They copy Charles' model portfolio to guide their own investments. It's easy. Only takes about 10 minutes a month. Others, well, they read everything he writes. His weekly updates, the monthly issues. They watch his video presentations. Many even write in like John, Robert, and Barbara did, who we just heard from. Ultimately, though, it's up to you. For me, the more I'm part of the Alpha Investor community, the more I enjoy it. When you join, you'll be a member alongside me, Mike Huckabee, Sarah Palin, even advisors at big Wall Street banks. They're all members of the Alpha Investor community. Of course, everyone's results will be unique. Your success will depend on how closely you follow Charles' insights, how much you decide to invest when you follow his recommendations, and any, unforeseen market events that may occur. In short, Charles does all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is read his monthly Alpha Investor briefings, make the decision to buy his recommendations, and watch your potential profits pile up. This approach has helped subscribers like Stuart, who wrote this: I've relied on you for 90% of my investments over the last decade. You've made me a lot of money. I'm living the American dream, due in large part to you. Thank you so much for all you do. I've come to trust you enormously. Rick, a certified public accountant, said this: the main reason I joined Alpha Investor is one of my clients has been following your advice and was beating my stock picks. And Billy emailed this: Charles, I'm 64 and was watching my 401k evaporate. I became a member of Alpha Investor about 2 months ago and have already regained most of what I had lost. God bless you for helping the underdogs. My point is this: whether you're an experienced investor or a complete novice, Alpha Investor can help you invest and grow your money, all with peace of mind. The moment you sign up to become part of the Alpha Investor community, you'll get access to Charles' entire model portfolio. Every single stock recommendation Charles makes is right there for you to follow at a glance. Again, some of his top positions right now include Arista Networks. By the way, it's up 295%. HCA Healthcare, which is up 193%. Iridium, up about 125%. Marvell Technologies, it's gone up 101%. And Watsco Incorporated is up 155%. And all those gains came over just the last 4 years during one of the most volatile stock markets on record. You'll also get Charles' detailed monthly briefings. Each month, you'll get details on a new stock recommendation, including why he expects it to climb and how high he expects it to go. You'll get weekly updates, so you never feel confused or left in the dark, which is important, along with a short daily e-letter that Charles and the rest of the team at Banyan Hill Publishing send out. That way, you'll always be up to date on the market and the best opportunities it has to offer you. You even get direct support from a dedicated customer care team. Anytime you have a question about their membership, they'll be there to help you. And of course, the moment you join, as a free bonus, Charles will send you his new special report, MLP Checks, the $17.9 billion energy payout. You'll have all the details of his top 3 sources for MLP Checks right at your fingertips. And you get it all with his 100% satisfaction guarantee, which means you have nothing to lose. Nothing to lose when you give Alpha Investor a try. Log in on your computer or open the app. Flip through Charles' monthly briefings, look at his model portfolio, skim his weekly updates, try his research and recommendations for an entire year. If you don't want to be part of the Alpha Investor community for any reason, just give his dedicated care team a call and they will refund every penny of your membership. And the free MLP check report you receive when you sign up, it's yours to keep free as his gift to you. This way you've got nothing to lose. So sign up today. Let's get started. I can guarantee you'll love being a part of Alpha Investor. Again, all you have to do is review the details of the stock recommendation Charles sends you each month and decide if you want to invest. That's it. It's all it takes. Charles doesn't want to stop there, though. He knows a lot of you may be new to investing, and that's okay. To give you an extra head start, he'll send you 2 more free bonuses. You'll get Alpha Investor Made Easy, 5 minutes to successful investing. With this quick start guide in hand, you'll be off and running in no time. In just 5 minutes, you'll see everything you need to invest like a pro and get the most out of your Alpha Investor membership. That's right, in just 5 minutes. Remember, Charles' goal is to make stock investing simple for you and success inevitable. It's a $500 value, yours free, when you join the Alpha Investor community. Plus, he'll also send you how to build a $1 million retirement. If you think rising inflation, rate hikes by the Fed, or the recent bear market mean your dreams of $1 million retirement are gone forever, guess again. Many of the world's most legendary investors made their fortunes during difficult times. Sir John Templeton became famous and rich by investing amid the outbreak of World War II. While most people were running for cover, he was buying stocks. In the 1970s, amid the oil shock and the stagflation, Warren Buffett turned Berkshire Hathaway into a stock market powerhouse, and by 1982, he already had a net worth of $376 million. John Paulson achieved fame and a $2.5 million fortune in the depths of the 2008 financial crisis. All great investors know that crises not only spell danger, they bring opportunity as well. MLP checks are just the start of the money-making opportunities before us today. In this special added bonus report, you'll see Charles' #1 way to build a $1 million retirement no matter what's going on in the stock market or the world. It's another $500 value, yours free when you join. So that's a total of 3 free special reports at $2,000 in value, yours free when you join the Alpha Investor community today. I've done all I can. Now it's up to you. The way I see it, you have 2 choices. You can sit still and do nothing and watch as inflation, rate hikes, and an uncertain stock market eat away at your hard-earned money, or you can join the Alpha Investor community and put yourself back on the path to prosperity. It's pretty simple. Charles does all the heavy lifting so that you don't have to. Every stock recommendation he gives you is backed by weeks of research. He keeps tabs on economic events as they unfold. He digs through annual reports, balance sheets, income statements, all of it. He monitors countless press releases. He reaches out to his contacts, who include, by the way, some of the nation's top fund managers, CEOs, and industry insiders. And he ties all the pieces together to identify the smartest moves to make and the best stock opportunities the market has to offer in any type of situation. The bottom line, Charles takes care of all the hard work for you. Bull market or bear market, tech boom or tech bust, energy abundance or energy crisis, it doesn't matter. There are always opportunities to grow your money. And when you're part of Charles' Alpha investor community, you'll know right where to find them. Just like the opportunity for MLP Checks before you today. Getting started? Well, it's easy. All you need to do is click the orange button beneath this video. You'll see how to get access to Charles' most current research and recommendations within moments. I urge you, don't delay. Join the Alpha investor community today. To get started, simply click on the orange button below. It will take you to a secure page where you can review all the details. Just click the orange button below. I'm Steve Gruber. Thank you for watching.